There is a strange kind of hunger you may recognize in yourself, a restlessness, a quiet ache. You might not talk about it much, but it is there when you wake in the morning, and it is there when you stare at the ceiling at night. It asks questions like, who am I really? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to become? You look at your life, your job, your relationships, your habits, and something in you whispers, this can't be all there is. So you start searching. You search in books, in philosophies, in spiritual practices, in new identities, in the approval of others. You try on definitions like clothing. Maybe I'm this type of person. Maybe I'm that kind of soul. But no matter how much you search, the satisfaction never lasts. The moment you think you've found yourself, the feeling slips away again, like water through open fingers. And perhaps, after enough cycles of chasing and losing, you begin to suspect something. Maybe the problem is not that you haven't found the right self yet. Maybe the problem is that the one who's searching is the very thing that keeps you from seeing what you are. The paradox is this. To find yourself, you must forget the one who's searching, the searcher and the searched. Imagine you are trying to see your own eyes without a mirror. You turn your gaze inward, you strain, you concentrate. But the more you try to look at your own seeing, the more it escapes you. Every tool you use, your thoughts, your concepts, your stories, is itself part of what you are trying to examine. It's like trying to pull yourself up by your own hair. The one doing the searching and the thing being searched for are not two separate entities. The me that says, I need to find myself, is already an idea, a thought, a collection of memories and expectations wrapped up in a pronoun. But is that truly you? If you lost every label, your name, your job, your past, would you stop existing? If tomorrow everyone forgot who you were, would you vanish from reality? Clearly not. Something would remain. Something that is here even before you begin to tell your story about yourself. That something cannot be captured by a search, because it is the one doing the searching. It is like the eye trying to see itself without reflection. To find what you truly are, you must understand this simple yet deeply unsettling fact. The seeker is part of the illusion. The more you build the seeker, this spiritual self, this philosophical self, this I who is looking for truth, the further you drift from the very simplicity you're seeking. The self you're trying to find is built from thought. There's a moment, if you're honest, when you see that most of your searching is really about comfort. You say, I want to find myself, but underneath you mean, I want a version of me that finally feels secure, finally feels worthy, finally feels clear and confident and complete. You're not really trying to discover what you are. You're trying to manufacture a more satisfying identity. You want a self that never doubts, never fears, never feels lost. But any self that can be improved, upgraded, polished, is not what you are. It's a construct, a mental character, a costume you wear in the play of life. Useful? Of course. We need some sense of I to function in the world. But when you mistake the costume for your essence, you become trapped. You say things like, I'm not good enough. I'm this kind of person. I can't change. This is just who I am. Or more subtly, I'm a seeker. I'm on a journey. One day, I'll arrive. But notice, all of these are thoughts. They come and go. One day, you feel wise. The next day, you feel foolish. One day, you feel spiritual. The next day, you feel shallow. If who you are were truly any of these states, you would disappear every time your mood changed. Yet you don't. Something remains through all of it. That something is not the seeker. It is the awareness in which the seeker appears. And that awareness does not need to search for itself. It is already here. the exhaustion of chasing yourself. Have you noticed how tiring it is to constantly work on yourself? Always improving, optimizing, fixing, healing, upgrading the character called me. You move from self-help to spirituality, from philosophy to practice, like a traveler changing vehicles but never questioning where they're really going. You say, I'm getting closer. But closer to what? If the goal is some ideal version of your mental self-image, you will never arrive. Because the self that wants to arrive is built from dissatisfaction. Its very existence depends on the feeling of not enough yet. So even when you achieve what you thought would complete you, the relationship, the recognition, the insight, the same hunger returns. The seeker survives by keeping you seeking. It whispers, not this, not yet, not enough. Keep going. So you sprint on the treadmill of self-improvement, wondering why the finish line keeps moving further away. What if the problem is not that you're not trying hard enough, or that you haven't found the right path, but that the very act of seeking is aimed in the wrong direction? What if, instead of pushing forward, you turned around and looked directly at the one who is searching? What if the way to find yourself is not to add more layers, but to start gently laying them down, losing yourself in the best way? Think about the moments you felt most truly alive. Not just happy, not just excited, but quietly lit up from within. Maybe you were watching the sky turn from gold to deep blue. Maybe you were deeply absorbed in your work. Maybe you were listening to someone you love breathe in the stillness of the night. In those moments, where was the search? Where was the constant self-monitoring, the inner narrator evaluating? The question, what does this say about me? It wasn't there, or at least it was very faint. For a brief while, you forgot yourself, and in forgetting yourself, you met something deeper, a sense of rightness without proof, a sense of meaning without explanation, a sense of belonging without needing to belong to anything. That is not an accident. It is a clue. It's as if life is quietly showing you, again and again. You will not find yourself by staring at yourself. You will find yourself by disappearing into what is happening now. Like a dancer who forgets they are a dancer and becomes only movement. Like a singer who forgets they are a singer and becomes only song. Like a child who forgets they are a person and becomes only curiosity. In those moments, you are closer to your true nature than in any story about who you are. The Stoic view, you are part of the whole. From a Stoic perspective, you are not a separate little entity trapped in your own private universe. You are part of a larger order, a living, breathing, unfolding whole. The air you inhale was exhaled by trees, by strangers, by animals and oceans and winds that traveled across continents. The thoughts in your head are shaped by languages you did not invent, by cultures you did not design, by causes and conditions stretching back far beyond your birth. Even your body is composed of ancient stardust, recycled endlessly through forests, rivers, planets, and suns. So tell me, where exactly does this you begin and end? When you say, I am searching for myself, what are you looking for? A solid center, a separate soul, a fixed, independent identity standing apart from everything else? Is it possible that what feels like your isolation is only a misunderstanding? The mind mistaking a temporary wave for something other than the ocean? The Stoic doesn't deny your individuality, your uniqueness, your specific perspective. But he doesn't worship it either. He sees that your true freedom doesn't come from exaggerating your separation, but from recognizing your participation. You are not a lonely seeker trying to break into reality. You are reality, seeking itself through this brief, human expression. To find yourself, you must stop insisting that you are apart. You must forget the little one who is always asking, "How do I fit in?" and instead see, "I already belong. I always have. I am made of this." The miracle of simply being. Stand still for a moment, inside yourself. Forget, just for a breath, all your unfinished tasks, all your spiritual goals, all your philosophical questions. Before all of that, something far simpler is true. You are here. You are conscious. You are aware of this sentence, of this moment. You don't have to earn that. You don't have to deserve it. You don't have to search for it. It is already the case. Every genuine spiritual insight, every stoic clarity, every moment of awakening is, at its heart, the recognition of this simple fact. Being is. You are. Everything else is commentary. When you grasp for identity, you overlook this miracle in favor of a story. You trade the raw, living presence of this moment for a mental label about who you are in it. The searcher is addicted to commentary. The one you truly are is prior to commentary. It is the quiet "I am" before you add. This kind of person, with this history, this personality, this destiny. To find yourself, you must return to that original simplicity, the naked awareness that precedes all description. And to return to that, you don't need to climb some mountain or solve some puzzle. You need to stop trying to capture it. You need to let the searching mind rest, the gentle art of forgetting yourself. Forgetting the one who's searching does not mean erasing your memory, nor pretending you don't exist. It means loosening your grip on the mental figure called me. It means living more in experience than in self-reflection. Try this as a practice. Next time you walk outside, instead of narrating, "I am walking, I am thinking, I am," let there just be walking. Just footsteps. Just contact with the ground, air on your skin, the feeling of your body moving through space. For a moment, let go of the question, "How does this reflect on me?" Trust that you do not need to constantly check if you are still someone. You are. The world is. It's enough. Or when you're listening to a friend speak, notice how often you're secretly listening for your turn to speak, your angle, your reaction. Then, gently, forget yourself. Listen as if you had nothing to defend, nothing to prove, no identity on the line. Let there just be listening. You may discover a depth of connection that all your self-consciousness never allowed. This is the art, moment by moment, softly slipping out of the center of the stage and letting life itself take the lead role. You are still part of the play, but you are no longer obsessively watching yourself perform. And in that simple shift, you begin to sense a lightness, a spaciousness, that feels a lot like freedom, the end of the search. There comes a point on this path when a quiet realization arises. The one I've been trying to find was never missing. What was missing was the recognition, not of a special, perfected self, but of the simple fact that what I truly am is not an object to be discovered, but the subject doing the discovering. You cannot stand outside yourself and find yourself, just as an eye cannot detach itself to see itself directly, but it can see everything else. And in that seeing, the eye's existence is obvious, even if it never becomes an object to itself. Likewise, you will never capture yourself as a neat concept, a final definition. Every attempt becomes just another mask. But when the seeking relaxes, when the obsession with self-understanding quiets, what remains is clarity, even without a conclusion. You are this awareness that watches thoughts rise and fall, that feels emotions swell and fade, that experiences body, world, time, yet remains throughout. You don't need to own it. You don't need to name it. You don't need to grasp it. You only need to stop running away from its simplicity into the complexity of endless searching, a closing meditation. Forgetting the seeker. Now let's not leave this as mere philosophy. Let it become a lived moment. If it's safe, close your eyes. Feel the weight of your body, the points of contact with the chair, the floor, the bed. Notice the breath, in and out. Thoughts may be buzzing. That's fine. Don't fight them. Just let them come and go, like people passing on a street. Now, very gently, turn your attention not to the thoughts, but to the simple fact that you are aware of them. Not the content, the awareness. You cannot see this awareness as an object. You can only be it. For a moment, drop the question, who am I? Drop the question, how do I find myself? Drop even the idea, I am searching. For these few breaths, let there simply be hearing, feeling, breathing, awareness. No seeker, no search, just this undeniable presence. Notice that it needs no improvement. It is already complete because it is not yours. It is what you are. You don't need to hold on to it. You cannot lose it. It will be here when this meditation ends, when you go about your day, when your mind becomes noisy again. It has been here through every twist and turn of your life. It will be here until your final breath. And beyond even that, who knows? But this moment, this presence, is enough. To find yourself. Forget the one who's searching. Forget the story that says you are broken, unfinished, always one insight away from finally being real. Let that story rest. Live instead, as the one who is aware of the story, yet not confined by it. Be here, in this breath, in this step, in this conversation. Not as a role that must be defended, but as life itself, meeting life, again and again, in endless, ordinary miracles. When the seeker grows quiet, what remains is what you were looking for all along. Not a better version of you, but the simple, spacious, silent fact of being. That is enough. That has always been enough.